I'll wake this thing up. Right. Okay, so got a special project here, but really it's something I've been doing since I was 14, back in 1987. That is, if you look at I used to enlarge newspaper prints, which have tiny little screen dots. Now this is probably one of the closest things you'll get in this day and age. So I'm going to try and replicate somewhat what I did as a teenager. Okay, we're just going to set this on the glass. Alright, I'll try and put that top bit up the top. You want to get the best of the screen dots. This is going to take a few goes to get it in. Now, just trying to think, it's not easy positioning on the glass. I was going to do it this way, but the dots, we want the really well-defined dots, so we might... it's tricky. I found this by the side of the road, and I love finding things, and this is really fun to do. Now, it's not, I don't want to, this is not intended to, breach copyright laws, but copyright laws are very restrictive, and often copyright rules are so strict that you can't, do this stuff, even if you're doing it purely to, even if you try. Sometimes I want to copy things to give people, like some of my thunder. If I ever become famous for my art, I like to share my fame with them by saying, I photocopied such and such's work, added some special effects to it, and give them some kind of glory for it. And we've got replenished paper. Sorry guys, I'll have to replenish paper. Okay, although my audience is primarily the non-conservative audience, okay, if we're talking to Konica Minolta or any other conservative group, I've just hit a snag, and I now have to refer to the manual, which I rarely do when I'm configuring the machine. So I'm having an issue with which way does the paper get placed, because some machines have what's called a U-shaped paper path, which means, well, whatever, doesn't matter, I won't go into it, but basically it says copy this side up, right? But I thought you had to copy that side up if it was a U-shaped paper path. But as it turns out, it says to place the surface to be printed so it faces upward. There you go, I'm glad I looked at the manual. So easy to do something wrong with a copier. And you can see this manual is thick. Steep learning curve. I know there's other functions in there like fax, copy, scan, but seriously, photocopiers shouldn't be this hard to learn. And why would anyone want to learn this, honestly? Okay, time to load paper. It's going to be a little bit difficult. Now that's quite useful, but then a lot of people don't notice these big letters, so just open up the tray. It's going to be hard loading this without one hand, but anyway, I may not do it that way. Okay, it's in the tray now. I just didn't want to show too much, and also I've got one hand. Yeah, I fanned it already, the way printers normally fan it. There's so many different ways to fan paper, it's not funny. It's just an art in itself sometimes. That's it, it's all done now. So we're going to get back to the job at hand. Okay. I'm going to start with the black and white because that's how I learned. Because when I was 14, the machine I used was a Xerox 1090 and it only enlarged up to 156%. It's quite limited. This is a lot more powerful and you've got so much more, But that was pure analog and pure black and white. There was no colour on that one or even mono, and it was full on analog, it wasn't digital. So we're going to choose, well, doesn't really matter. Get lost. Now this is silly. Now I know what I've done wrong. I've left it on auto paper. Now a normal operator would have an absolute nightmare trying to do this. Now I wasn't meant to make this into a technical video. This was just, to show some people who are into photocopiers how to be creative, because they can't get into the industry. They've got to have some connection to keep themselves out of mischief. Because believe you me, I've seen them get up to some pretty nasty mischief. Not personally myself most of the time, but I've seen some of the results of what they do. Public nuisance, vandalism. It's terrible to see such brilliant minds being wasted and turned into that kind of silliness. But I call them my friends, they're my followers, and I really care about them, but I also care about the people who have to deal with the aftermath of their anger. So this subject I'm trying to photocopy is basically something that, well, it looks like the kind of thing that they do. It looks like a kind of thing that reflects copier culture as it is, whatever's left of the creative side, people that used to do it creatively. There's people like zine writers. They're really, really sad people. They're not usually given to violent crimes, but they're very moody and depressed, and so miserable, and they need something. And this is kind of like on their level, reflecting how they feel. And that name Frenzel, Frenzel Rom, it's a band, right? I think that's the name of a group. That's the kind of stuff we associate with the dark side of copier culture, Frenzel Rom, But then copier culture isn't usually, directly relevant to the machine, as it is with myself. But it's sort of a reflection. It's exactly what we're going through now, pretty much, is socioeconomic decay. So yeah, we feel like we've gone back in time. Like we've gone back to, I think, the late 70s, early 80s, when punk and the new romantic music movement, like Gary Newman and John Fox. John Fox's Underpass is something that really rings in my mind when I think of the dystopic side of photocopier culture, art. As I said, most people don't have a knowledge of photocopier culture to the same acute level that I have. But it's just something that came to me naturally. Where it came from, damn it, just me, But it's amazing how it happens. We just seem to have, we've lost that glamour. I mean, I'm doing the glamour girl stuff now. I can do just about anything, almost, because this is what I'm good at. This is what I enjoy. There you go. That looks good. Yeah, I quite like that look, but it needs more heaviness to it. So we're going to go here, and we're going to employ the heaviest mode of all, dot matrix original. But in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 80s, the copiers were more, they weren't as, well, they were very basic, very crude devices, but this machine can do some very crude looking work. It's a very grunty piece of equipment. It's unbelievable. It's high tech, and yet it has a low tech aesthetic to it as well. Amazed at what Konica and Alta have basically built. Yeah, that's really good. Yes, I'm very happy with that profile. We've also got to photocopy that thing we just did, so we're just going to hit that into mode memory. We're just going to use that. We didn't have mode memories back then, but we didn't have all this heavy kit either. But basically, I've got Asperger's syndrome, and this is how I keep myself out of mischief. But I'm not given to crime, violent crime, but I can be a troublemaker myself. So yeah, I'm just going to take it off the glass. And the thing is, I hate crime. I'm a person who doesn't, give myself to committing crime, but I can be antisocial. I can be a real narc, But these, I've always had problems with being social and being accepted. But the thing is, I don't want to define myself by that, and I don't want to hold grudges against people. But basically, I'm just telling you, photocopying for me is like, it's something. It's the only thing I've been able to successfully do out of all the hobbies and interests and fads that I've tried, and it's so rewarding. It's it's expensive, but man, I get such a reward out of doing it. It takes away the crankiness that I have. It's something you can't just do on its own. You can't just be doing it meaninglessly. One day I'd like to make copier culture do something more practical, and that is to help make photocopier design better, because believe it or not, this copier configuration art, as I've renamed photocopier art, is basically a great tool to show how photocopiers work and how well they're kitted. But you can see that's what I was doing at the age of 14, just about that. Yeah, I've also got to do something different. I might have to go back to the other original for what I have to do, but this just shows what is possible. Now the thing is, I'll do something different here, but basically I don't expect, you know, people to approve of me, but now for some reason I'm going to do something different. I don't expect people to, you know, the normal people, the conservative people and all that to, you know, like me personally, because I've never gotten on with them, even though I sort of tried, like a lot of Aspies, to assimilate. And assimilation's been more damaging than good, but the thing is we have to learn from our mistakes, and you can see that's negative mode. That's how most photocopier enthusiasts live these days, what's left of them. The nerds will inherit the copier world. Damn, I just lost my settings. Autoclear. Just got a chat message. I think it's another copier enthusiast on the line, but I haven't checked. I've got to keep this demo going. So anyway, we've got that image. We're going to try something different. So whether we're just going to try. Oh, damn you! See, there's a clash, feature clash. Oh, see, normal users will just go mad when they have to deal with this beeping and. Anyway, there's a message again. So what we were thinking of doing was demonstrating a thing called overlay. Now I'm getting a bit into the advanced area here, but so we're just going to go black. Just going to stick it on. Leave it on all pages. Now I've got to register this. I don't know if it's going to work. Sorry about those rather lame little things. Whether I'm going to overwrite that. But this is starting to get into the more advanced stuff. Now I'm trying to think whether I think what I have to do is we have to scan it first. This will scan into the copier's hard drive, right? And even it challenges me how to do it. Now I don't learn by manuals. Damn, come on. Okay, shut up. So we've got to recall it. Now I don't even know if I've executed this right, because these are not easy to use, even for a power user. So we're now going to try and see what happens if, you know. So I don't know if I've got this right. I've also forgot to change the original, switch the original around so it has the effect. So, but no, I have. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Well, I think I've got caught by surprise, because I think when it saves the image into the hard drive, it seems to reverse the image around for some strange reason. Now I didn't know that. So this is the original, intermediate original. Now we're going to try something different. Now we're going to go more advanced. We're going to go into color. We'll can off the overlay for now. We just got this damn. Sorry guys, my demos are going to be too long. I try to make them short, but I talk too much. But you know, I sort of feel that narration gives it a more human quality, but it's not. Well, anyway, trying to remember what I used. I think it was that one. Damn. I should have been more. Yeah, it's black and white. Okay, it's that one. We're at 400%. We should have saved that. We're just going to go back to that ratio. I'm going to now enable. No, I can't use autocolor. It'll copy as black and white. So I think it will. So I'm going to go full color. This can confuse operators too, because if they want to copy a color image of black and white to save money, they'll end up getting a color image. Some machines are set, unfortunately, to that default, which suggests that, yes, you all know what that means. We don't want to say it. It's the big M word. But anyway, we're going to get in there. We're also going to, some reason I want to pump the red down. And again, we're going to go this color balance. No, this is not something that most people particularly want to use, but you know, for a printer, this is a useful tool if they can do it very quickly, you know, without too many what's known as make-readies. Otherwise, it costs them for the mistakes. You know, the customer can't foot the bill. And this is one of the reasons why I love the idea of doing it myself all these years, because you can't really. It's hard to tell an operator, especially one that hasn't got the same knowledge or passion that I have, or experience, how to do it, you know. And it's more fun to do it yourself. You've got control. You're at the controls. You know, it's like the difference between being a pilot and being an airline passenger. You know. See? Oh, again, we've gone back to that. But you can see what you can do. So yeah, pulling up the profile, I forgot to add this original size. So we're going back to A4 landscape, or R as it's often technically known as. We found the colours are a little bit bleh, because for some reason we pumped the red right down. Now, I like to pump the red up. These things are like paint box to me, and I've learned over the years to do this. Technology's changed, but it's still pretty much the same thing, you know. It's still hard to use and annoying for the average operator, but hey, what can we do? You know, the world is, well, I don't know, there's not much logic in this age. Wars, violence, greed, whatever. But, you know, we can't fight it, we can't occupy Wall Street, we can't be, you know, we can have the soul, heart, mind and soul of an activist, because copy culture in this context is a form of activism, right? But I'm not interested in going to demonstrations. This is the kind of demonstration I do. But demonstrations, rallies, protests, yes, I understand how they feel, but this is the kind of peaceful demonstration I like to do. Look at this. So that's the kind of demonstration, that's my version of demonstration, but the thing is, sometimes I lose my cool over it, but the thing is we can't go blowing our megaphone of anger. You know, hatred never achieves anything, and I want to say that I'm being guilty of that too. You know, I'm not perfect, and I'm the first one to admit that, like anyone, I've had a badass attitude, but I don't want to go into it too much and focus on the negatives. We have to learn, you know, from our mistakes. Now, I'm going to try something interesting. I'm going to try a sample copy. So, we're going to test to see what hue adjustment will. And this won't copy the whole page. This is just a feature that helps, you know, reduce the mag ready, but it's still very restrictive, but I found it very creative. So, I've output an A3, but it doesn't show much change, but it's creative in itself. Yeah, we're not going to worry about that feature at the moment, but I like to show the positives, and when I'm at the photocopier controls, I feel as if, you know, the grievances from the past can sort of be settled more, and you know, art is something that can inspire people. One must not underestimate the power of creativity. It's a mistake to do that if you do that. So, for some reason I feel as if I want to try the sample copy in this mode. This is the brightness. So again, we're going to output on A3. But you know, this is just a loose little demo. It's not too formal. It's just to throw around some ideas, because I know most people who play with photocopiers are mainly technical types. You can see the different exposure levels, and then you can choose what levels. You know, it shows the pluses, and you can't help, but it's still very restrictive when you're trying to throw features together like a synthesizer. You know, it's kind of, which is what I do. So now we're going to go into another. So you can just see now these images are starting to evolve, and you know, but the average person can learn stuff by instruction. It used to always boggle me from childhood, and it caused me jealousy and a sense of, yeah, I suck. But the thing is, when I'm at the photocopier, that's a different story. It's like I can fly. It's different. Now, I don't want to say that photocopying alone is good enough, because you've got to have it. It's got to have a place, a purpose, a higher purpose. I call it the X factor, basically. If you don't have that, well, you're just photocopying yourself, well, into oblivion, I reckon. And I don't want to talk about it, but basically, it's like anything, you know. It's got to have a purpose. It's not something you do as a dead-end activity. But it starts out as a dead-end activity in life. You have to start somewhere, and this is where you start, you know. Yeah, for some reason there, that's not doing much. Yeah, I seem to be getting a bit dead-ended into this. I'm not going to touch that now. But you get my drift. I don't want to be just photocopying just for photocopying's sake. I mean, all due respect, you know, I really get a lot of pleasure out of it, and my life would not be complete with it. And for me, the X Factor has given me an ultimatum to use this gift. Otherwise, it would be wrong. It seems to be trendy to tell people not to do it, you know, not to do things that are creative or that are passionate. So just going to use that, just overwritten it. But, you know, but you got to use your talent. You can't just, you know, listen to people, you know, whether they be religious or secular, because they're all doing it. They're all telling us we've got to be normal, or we've got to not be passionate or into, you know, the best musicians are the ones who are passionate. The best painters are the ones who are passionate, you know. And this is really good. Look at that. So being passionate means you study it harder, you do it better, and if you're an Aspie and you're trying to be social, don't be social. Don't mix with what we call the neurotypicals, because they will hurt you and they won't understand you, and they'll promise you the world, and that won't work. It's limitations of equipment. And they say, you know, you're going to be like us. You can get a job. You can be, you know, you get friends, but really, it's not going to work. It doesn't work that way in this cruel world. We can't be negative, and we can't retaliate. We can't commit, you know, foul crimes against them. Although, man, there's sometimes when it becomes a thought, you know, and cursing them, even cursing a person is not acceptable, really, when you think about it. But, you know, I've done it so many times. It's taken me a long time to learn not to do it. And this X Factor that I'm telling you about has taught me how to control my rage. And it's to do with, using the photocopier and also listening to music therapy. So that just shows, you know. So that's some examples we've just done here. And here are some larger dots. And here's another one, you know, photocopier art really has, this sort of stuff really has the soul of mixtape, the soul of independent music, you know, Ban the Bomb, Stop Vivisection, whatever that is exactly, and all that sort of stuff. But I'm doing it a bit differently, you know, it's got to be done for peaceful reasons, and my ultimate goal, along with a man called Luigi, is to build a self-guided photocopier. So copier culture will make money, but then we give money to the poor, we give it to welfare, and, you know, we stop people going hungry. That's the ultimate aim. But we'll talk about it later, but this just shows here the niceness of it all. And here's another example. Yep, and now we're starting to get a little bit into the colour end of the spectrum. But it's really amazing. I just feel so free when I'm photocopying. Even though, strictly speaking, like any person with Asperger's syndrome, I am not free. I don't own my own house. I'm on a disability pension. If I don't break the poverty cycle, I will not even be able to afford the photocopy, but I'm not afraid. I have faith that the X Factor will bail me out.